You won't own games anymore. You already don't. In fact, you don't own most of the things that you think you own. They can be taken away from you at any point, pretty much.
You will own nothing, and you will be happy.
This
Huh.
is the future according to the World Economic Forum. And whether you know it or
True.
not, gaming has been taking steps in that direction for a long time. In just a decade,
Now, the difference here is, and it's a big difference, that gaming's doing this because it's just, the better solution for them and what they want to achieve. The World Economic Forum, on the other hand, they're doing that out of pure evil, malicious intent that they don't even know is pure malicious intent. They just think they're better than everyone else and understand the world better. I mean, it's kind of a justified opinion, by the way, because think about it. You're a billionaire. And then there's these people who are struggling to feed themselves? Why shouldn't you take charge of their lives? If we think about it. Because they clearly can't, govern themselves, feed themselves even, while you have all this expendable money. And then these people become delusional that they always know better. And well, we all know how sniffing your own farts ends up in these situations. No one can oppose their ideas because they're the smartest and best. And the people who they ask, hey, do you think this is good? Are gonna say always yes, because otherwise they're gonna get fired and their lives are, gonna become worse. And then there's my favorite part of the World Economic Forum. The people who think that they're gonna be left standing and survive if they just do as they are told. Bro, the World Economic Forum is an absolute single person led authoritarian dictatorship, essentially, at the end of the day, okay? There's gonna be only one leader, and that's probably not you. And the funny part is, all of those people think one of two things. Either they're gonna be the leader and it's gonna be fine, which is not gonna be fine, or two, well, they're in the group of these elites, so it's fine. No, you're just a grunt who's doing what you are told. You don't matter, and at the right time, you will be made to not matter. You're just gonna fall in line like everyone else. So I hope you're ready for that future.
video games have shifted from being things you own to software you rent. A world where thousands of dollars spent can be deleted in a second. Why does the future look so bleak, yet also look so great?
This is genuinely how many games you get on Game Pass.
In a moment,
God, Game Pass is the biggest... Game Pass! I have talked about this so much. Game Pass is a scam. Do you think Microsoft would give you Game Pass if it lost them money? No. On average, Microsoft is making money with Game Pass. That's why Game Pass exists. Because it makes money. Okay? The average person is probably like playing 1 or 2 games per year from Game Pass. Or trying it out for 5 seconds without Game Pass. They wouldn't even have tried it out anyway. Okay? The reality is, most people just leave Game Pass, and every month it just takes away to that twin or deluxe edition, probably like 20 or 30 bucks. I have no idea how expensive Game Pass is. But no one cancels the subscription, okay? This is how we people do things. We don't cancel subscriptions. You haven't watched Netflix in 3 months. Guess what? That subscription is still rolling around. And you're not even thinking about stopping it in actuality. Same thing with Game Pass. Maybe you play like 1 or 2 games a year and you actually think you're getting your money's worth. But the reality is, in 2 years, that Game Pass subscription that has been for 4 months is going to pay off for Microsoft, and you're going to be the loser. Now, if you're insane and you're playing legitimately every single game on Game Pass for like a month at a time, constantly, yeah, I guess you are getting value from it. But the average person is not getting value from Game Pass.
I'll tell you how Nintendo started their own gaming subscription service and why you won't own games anymore. But first, we need to talk about our video sponsor. Sponsors are important for our channel because 50% of all of our revenue goes directly into the Going Indie Fund. We hope that with this fund, we can help indie developers get the finances they need to finish their game.
That's a nice cause.
So that being said, I need to talk about this video sponsor Opera GX.
Opera
I have been using
GX.
Opera GX.
I have been sponsored by Opera GX, so I am not allowed to say anything bad. But, you know, use his code right here if you want.
The menu. So if you have a potato computer like me and you need the perfect gaming browser, check out my link below and download Opera GX today.
He's lying about potato browser. This channel already has made enough money to buy state-of-the-art computers.
Hey, thanks to Opera GX for sponsoring this video. While live service model is the trendy new buzzword in gaming, companies have been trying to make this work since the very beginning. Back in the 80s, some of the oldest gaming companies released their very own subscription gaming services. Just like today, these subscriptions gave you access to a bunch of titles without ever having to actually buy them. You just had to pay a monthly fee. But Mattel and Atari weren't the only ones to try the subscription model. In the 90s, Nintendo and Sega also took a crack at it. Sega called theirs the Sega Channel, and it used a cable television adapter to let you play a bunch of games, rotating the selection every month. Nintendo called theirs Satellaview, which used satellite signals through a special tuner you attached to the SNES. It offered games, magazines, and other media you could all download onto your console. These services were ahead of their time. While they only lasted a couple years before ending, the gaming companies knew that once the technology got better, this would be the future.
If they lasted a couple of years before ending, that already means that they're lucrative, because they would have probably shut it down pretty fast if it wasn't.
People and technology just weren't ready for game subscription services. But then, some third-party companies gave it a try. In the 2000s, we got the first real taste of subscription gaming with Blockbuster and Gamefly.
Wow.
Blockbuster had copies you could pick up in the store, and Gamefly would mail them straight to your door. And who could forget those commercials?
We paid $69 back.
That's a lot of baloney.
So as we can see, the subscription model has been around in the gaming industry for a long time, but it's taken 40 years to finally take off. And now, it's really taking over. Game Pass, Ubisoft Plus, EA Play, PlayStation Now, Apple Arcade. These services are everywhere. Nearly every company has their own version or variation. The technology to make the gaming...
Hey, everyone wants to be Steam. You know why? Because, well, Steam makes a lot of money. Wait. Every company wants to be Steam, not so they can sell games. Well, so they can sell games. That's pretty much it. Because Steam is just selling games. They're not really doing anything. And they're racking up a ton of money. Why? Just because they're selling stuff. And the real money maker, by the way, is not even selling games. It's the Steam marketplace, okay? That's where you can sell all of those garbage little things. Because, man, that thing rakes even more money in, okay? The best position in the market is not being the strongest player in the market. It's being the guy who runs the market and takes a cut off of everything that's being sold.
Subscription model work is finally here, and people are worried. Right now, the future of gaming looks murky to a lot of people. But before gaming tried the subscription model, other forms of media were knee-deep, and we can look to them to foresee the future. When the television came out, all you needed was an antenna to watch shows, with each channel being broadcasted over radio waves directly to your family room. In the beginning, people only got 3 channels. Once you had the TV, you could watch anything your antenna picked up. You really had to fiddle with it, but it was a one-time payment. Everything changed though in 1972, when HBO created the first cable television service, Pay TV. Other companies saw what was happening.
Good old times when we were kids, and you had bootleg TV. It was beautiful. Whichever bootleg variant of these fake things that you don't have to pay a subscription service to, your parents had probably like one of 3 kids TV show channels choices, and that's what you got, baby. That's what you got. I didn't grow up with Disney. I had alternatives. It was great. I had Nickelodeon for a while. Man, Nickelodeon sucked. Honestly, it kind of sucked really hard.
Happening and wanted a piece of the pie, creating copycat services left and right. By the end of the 80s, 53 million houses now had cable television. The cable subscription model was becoming the new norm. And now, 50 years later, we look at the cable television as legacy media, something outdated that only old people use. From cable TV to streaming services to YouTube, there are more platforms to watch movies and shows than ever thought possible. I mean, you can still buy that antenna and watch a few channels.
And you're still not canceling those subscriptions, by the way. I mean, at this point, I have said this once, I'll say it again. Hey, Why are you mad at, why are you mad at companies for charging you money? You're probably already subscribed to like 15 different things, excluding the 10 different OnlyFans accounts that you're sub to monthly and don't even use those ones. Well, what's the difference of just subscribing to one more at this point? It's not like you're gonna get poor. You're already poor and stupid because you have subscribed to 15 different things without even using them. What? Why even complain?
For no additional cost, but it's not enough. Who's doing that? We want Netflix, Prime, ESPN, Mr. Beast, and more. We don't just want 3 options or even 3,000 options. Somehow now, we want millions. It's easier than ever to come home after...
No, that's not true. Whenever people are afforded with a million options, they instantaneously understand that they just want like 1 or 2 options. Most people who watch YouTube watch like, I don't know, 1 or 2 channels at a time on average. Okay, more than that, like 5-ish channels plus. But the reality is, it's like you're not even checking them all the time. You're just, oh, this channel's video appeared in my thingamajiggy, I'm clicking on it. And you care probably like about a channel or 2 at a single time that, you really check if they did upload something. This is not true. People hate choices. Fundamentally, the biggest thing about humans is that we hate choices. If someone is given a choice of 20 things or between 2 things, they're gonna pretty much always just go towards the 2 things because that's what we like more. We hate choices because the more choices we have, the more chances are that we are gonna pick something that we don't like. So limited choices are better for humans.
After work or school, sit down on the couch and binge some episodes of your favorite TV show. You don't even need to DVR the show or wait till Saturday morning.
You're watching Boomerang on Cartoon Network.
Millions of movies, TV shows, and videos are at your fingertips. It's mind-blowing. I can't imagine what someone from the 40s would think if they saw all this. It really is incredible.
They would probably think we have failed as a civilization because they would not even care what's on television. They would look at what's happening in the world and say like, oh my lord, it's time for the Great Flood again. We need it. And we do need a purge. I don't care which kind, but we do need one.
And it's all thanks to the subscription model. It's made media accessible. But there's a problem in all this. While the subscription service has been prevalent in entertainment for a long time, and it's brought media to the masses, we can see how companies have pushed the boundaries, seeking new ways to nickel and dime its users. HBO in the 90s, for example, started adding other channels to their platform. Optional add-ons not included in the base price. Not terrible, but it gets worse. A more recent example is Amazon, who announced that they will be adding commercials to Amazon Prime, which originally was a perk included in the $140 annual Prime fee. So a perk that was included is now an additional cost. Where it gets really devious is when we look outside entertainment. Companies like Mercedes.
So, they sell a good product. Well, I use the term good loosely here, okay? So this is how it works. They sell a good product. And that product has all of these cool amenities in it. And then they start to remove these amenities and sell them as, special type of offer deals. Like, no ads. Now you need to pay $5 to not get ads in your Amazon Prime. And things like this. Okay? It happens long enough. Guess what? Some competition happens to Amazon who says, hey, look, you remember Amazon Prime being good with no ads and you didn't have to pay a fortune for all of the things that you used to get for free? Well, we're doing it the old way. And then Amazon starts losing shares, there's competitions, and that competition gets sour at the end because, they also start to cut out things that they previously offered, but now it's like pretty much DLC. It's a never-ending cycle.
Mercedes-Benz recently started locking certain car features behind subscription fees, like faster acceleration. And in 2022, they made over $1 billion off these subscription-based features. That's just a cherry on top of all the other money they make selling cars. So you not only have to pay for the Mercedes, but you have to pay to use the car in a certain way, which is absolutely insane.
Yep.
And because of how successful Mercedes has been, most automakers...
By the way, they're not even the first ones to do this, by the way.
are now planning on implementing similar subscriptions. So
also, this is false. Tesla has this. BMW obviously has this, because only stupid people drive BMWs in the first place. Okay, rich kids and people who don't have anything worth living for drive BMWs. Okay, and they're obviously gonna buy the acceleration no matter how expensive it is. Also, BMW pretty much at this point could probably make a car that has perfectly silenced exhaust, and then sell perfectly fucked up, not silenced exhaust as just some kind of noise effect that happens when you push the gas for 10,000, and every person with a BMW would instantaneously buy that. I don't know who drives Toyotas.
So obviously, subscription services aren't going away anytime soon, and it's becoming so prominent that it's infiltrating every industry. But what does this mean for the gaming industry? Well, let's look at the negatives first. Back in the day when we were blown into game cartridges and listening to Robin Williams tell us to
Seize the day.
you owned every
I
game
remember
you bought.
that.
You had a physical copy, and you could do whatever you wanted with it. Share it with a friend.
I mean, that's true, but physical copies were never gonna last because, again, they're physical copies. It takes time to distribute them. If you can click what would you honestly rather choose? Would you choose to click one button, go to a website, and buy the thing? Or would you want to drive down to some kind of game store where maybe it doesn't even have copies of the game that you want, and then you have to buy it? Yeah, I'm choosing the online version. I'm definitely choosing the online version. Because recently we watched a video about microtransactions, and well, obviously most people who don't think about this too much think that microtransactions are a waste of money. Spending hundreds of thousands on a game is stupid, even if you have the money and you have literal tens of millions in the bank, by the way. You know, that's gonna be stupid in some people's eyes. Even though the reality is, okay, so this guy is making hundreds of millions a year, and he's stupid? Because he buys a microtransaction for more money than you make in 10 years? I think he's smarter than you, but that's okay. And people don't understand this, but hey, if someone for leisure activities wants to buy something, microtransaction, that's completely fine. There's actually nothing you can say against it, because it's as tangible and real as anything else. My favorite example is a sofa. Okay? People say that microtransactions are uncomparable to sofas, but it's probably actually better than sofas because, well, a sofa's tangible, right? Microtransactions are not tangible. How is a sofa tangible? Are you sitting on it every day? You probably go days without even seeing the sofa you bought. So how is it tangible? Are you never gonna get off the sofa after you buy it? What happens if you spill something or ruin the sofa or, do something like that? Then the sofa has no value any longer, okay? So how is it better than a microtransaction? Oh, but microtransactions, if you spend money on a game, those are just pixels and they can be taken away from you at any moment by the developer. True. But how often does that happen? Pretty much never, unless you, intentionally try to break the terms of services of, hacking or whatnot. But a sofa's forever. You buy it and it's there. How about your house burns down, huh? What then? The sofa's gone. And in that situation, the pixels are much more tangible and real than the sofa. You can even sell the pixels on a third-party website, probably, because you have something valuable on your account. You see, people will choose to buy non-realistic things, not tangible things, because the reality is you just don't care. Okay, it's convenience. It's still good. It still gives you satisfaction. And as long as it gives you satisfaction, it's as real as it gets.
Destroy it, great. It was yours to do as you please.
Seize the day.
But with players transitioning to digital games and subscription models, this is changing rapidly. Most of the games you own aren't actually yours.
Almost
it says
all
it
of
right
them.
at the beginning of the Steam subscriber agreement. The content and services are
There's a
licensed,
license,
not sold. The agreement, everyone.
And do you care about this? No, unless you're trying to scam people on Steam, you're probably never gonna get banned and your account is always gonna be there. So what do you care?
Signs, but no one ever reads, tells you that you own nothing on Steam. You're just buying the right to use what you purchase. And it gets better. Later on in the subscriber agreement, it says Valve may restrict or terminate your account for any conduct or activity that breaches the Steam online conduct rules. A lot of people, myself included, have hundreds or even thousands of dollars worth of games on their account.
That's a lot.
And at a push of a button, you could lose all of them. At least physical games are still safe, right? You just buy the disc. Not exactly.
Actually, no. I thought he's gonna mess that up, but no. They can still be blocked, by the way.
You buy a physical copy of the game today, you better hope the game has an offline mode. Because if the game is online only, owning that physical disc is nothing more than a cool decoration to sit on your shelf. The developers can still revoke your access at any time if they decide you violated their terms of use. Now, Valve isn't going around restricting and terminating accounts left and right. It's not like they're attacking their players. They want people to trust and enjoy Steam. However, some other companies are more than happy to abuse powerless customers. In mid-2023, Ubisoft was found deleting accounts due to inactivity.
So we have temporarily suspended your inactive Ubisoft account, and you have 30 days to reactivate it.
Additionally, the popular game engine Unity recently announced some massive changes to their monetization model, surprising everyone with just a blog and a social media post.
Yeah, but they already took it back. Admittedly, the moment the company tries to do something like this, they're gonna, if there's pushback, they're just gonna tickle it in slowly.
Unity was screwing with people's livelihoods, and they promised they wouldn't. You see, when Unity was released in 2005, it was a one-time purchase. You bought the software and you owned it. But then,
That's kind of like the super keyword here, was.
And they shifted to a subscription model, a yearly payment plan that followed in the footsteps of Adobe and other software companies. And when Unity made this change, they said that there would never be any royalties with Unity. You would just pay your yearly subscriptions and you could use Unity. No strings attached. We're not nickel and diming people, and we're not charging them a royalty.
Yet.
When we say it's free, it's free. When we say it's $75 a month, it's $75 a month. But then, in September of 2023, Unity announced this. Going back on...
This was the craziest thing, by the way, ever. Because this per install for especially mobile games means... Yeah, you're probably now bankrupt. There's a lot of people who... The amount of people who just install a game... and check it out for 2 minutes and then just delete it because it's not what they're looking for is huge. Okay, it's absolutely ginormous. So yeah, this is this fee was literally just like completely business destroying.
Their promise. On top of the subscription model, which already charged up to $2,000 a year, Unity added download fees. Every time someone downloaded a game that used Unity, the developers would be charged up to 20 cents. The number of times...
Did that MFer just screw in a bolt with his hands like that?
Used Unity,
Yeah, he did. That's not okay.
Developers would be charged up to 20 cents. The number of times I have deleted and reinstalled games is a lot. I'm constantly uninstalling games so I could play something else. Can you imagine being a game developer and selling your game for $5 and losing 20 cents every time some moron like me reinstalls your game? It's ludicrous. All these changes wouldn't take effect unless your game hits a certain threshold. Unity had no way to differentiate pirated copies, reinstalls, or first installs. And so as a developer, you have two options. You can either start over development on a new engine, which is incredibly difficult and costly, or deal with the changes and hope you can still make money. Also costly.
Oh, hell no. You're not making money. Unity made sure of that one,
But
Chief.
some of these devs have been working on their game for 3 years, starting over.
Dude, if you're working 3 years on something that looks like this, I'm sorry, but you deserve to be destroyed.
Would be devastating. Some developers I talked with thought about just throwing everything away, while others who had already published their games were considering removing them off Steam since the download fee at release was retroactive. Unity's terms of service also used to say that you wouldn't have to use the new terms if your game wasn't using the newer versions of Unity. If the updated terms adversely impact your rights, you may elect to continue to use any current year version of the Unity software. But that was a clause that
Okay, Unity sounds just too fair for the current day, honestly.
Used to exist. Unity quietly changed that in April, removing this section so they could pull off this new monetization method. You can see why there was so much backlash. Unity has walked back or toned down some of these changes, but the download monetization is ultimately still there. And this highlights the bigger problem. When you're locked into a system and they suddenly change the model on you, there's nothing you can do.
Classic.
Just like television, movies, or even cars, we are moving away from owning video games. And it always starts out positive. HBO, Mercedes, Unity, all of these platforms or products have brought their customers enormous amounts of value, with each of these companies being pioneers in their industries. But with time, they have stopped focusing on what value they can deliver you and are now...
I actually probably should put a little bit of more investment into some kind of car manufacturing. Because that's not going away from cars, by the way, ever. You're gonna pay subscription fees to unlock shit forever. There's probably gonna be an ignition fee that you have to pay for a car, okay? At some point. That's gonna be a lot of money made.
Focused on what value they can extract from you. The pattern seems to be create a great product or service, make it available for the masses, get millions of adopters, and once people are hooked on the product, then you add new monetization.
Yes! Yeah, I don't know how anyone does... There's probably a lot of people who don't understand this concept. But yes, this is how everything works. This is how shit like a lime can be unprofitable for, you know, billions upon billions a year and still have a stock price bigger than, I don't know, McDonald's. That's how this stuff works. You get them in, and then you start nickel and diming them. This is how every single thing of these works. It's nothing new. We have seen this already for, what, 20 years plus, at least in the modern day?
Methods. And right now, the video game industry is here in the framework, amassing millions of individuals on subscription platforms. But what happens when Game Pass becomes like Amazon Prime? When the market matures and a few select services have majority market share, they'll do the same.
Game Pass... Well, by the way, yeah, it will. That's actually something I didn't think. But yeah, Game Pass obviously has also an Amazon Prime evolution. There's probably already a Game Pass Plus, right? You know, the thing that has probably also really, really good games that people want locked behind it. There's just gonna be tiers to the Game Pass, okay? There's going to be the Game Pass, there's going to be Game Pass Plus, then there's going to be Game Pass Plus Plus, then there's going to be, I don't know what, something bigger. I don't know if this is a joke, but I actually heard this in the last week, I think. It was about some kind of Tinder subscription that cost $500 a month. Oh my lord! Oh my lord! And it's so stupid. It's so stupid. First of all, because every woman on Tinder is absolutely the worst example of womanhood possible. But second of all, man, $500, Jesus. I don't know if that's a joke, by the way, or not, because I can see that happening. I can easily see that happening.
Thing every other industry has done. Find new ways to get you to pay, and it all sounds terrible. But there is a...
Okay, also... I have a feeling that that's the end of the video in actuality, because this should be the end, right? Because this is the end game. The end game is just not even creating new useless things that they're gonna force you to buy. It's just taking already existing things away from you and force you to rebuy them. So, how is this not the end of the video? Let's check. Maybe there's something else? Maybe we're missing. Why aren't you loading? Hello, wizards? Diablo? Blizzard.
So much easier and cheaper having a subscription. I personally don't want to go back to when I had to buy every song on iTunes or buy movies at the store for 15.
Yep. It's just the not bad. It's just the convenience argument. Okay, so we're essentially absolutely 100% done. This is going indie. Why are you taking so long to load? Oh, wait, this is not the end screen of his. There we go. It's still nothing? Anyway, that's going indie. Anyway, this was also Quizzer Sid said. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.